Hello everyone. So today I'm going to talk about the immersed plants that I have in my fish room and in my tanks. But before we get started, I wanted to clarify terminology. Immersed, spelled with an E, is a botany term that means protruding out of the water or rising above the water, while immersed, spelled with an I, means underwater. One can also say submersed for meaning underwater. So now I'm going to talk about the immersed plant in my show tank, the 240 gallon shown here. This is an Anubias Frazeri. It is tied to a rock that sits on top of the hardscape. So this plant has completely transitioned into its immersed form, where it has an abundant supply of CO2. So this plant actually started as a submersed form tied to a driftwood in one of my 20 gallon tanks. And over time, its leaves started to reach the top surface of the water, and eventually more leaves started to grow out of the water until it became fully immersed. There are a few differences between submersed and immersed growth. So for this Anubias Frazeri, its immersed form is much larger. These leaves are about, I'd say, 12 inches long. And the stems are also about 12 to 15 inches long. Another difference is that the immersed leaves are much thicker and stronger so that it can support its own weight. And finally, the new leaves of an immersed Frazeri is red in coloration. So now I'm going to take you to the back fish room where I'll show you my other immersed projects. If you guys haven't seen my fish room tour, please check it out. I've linked it below. So here to the right is the driftwood where the Frazeri came from. It was attached to this driftwood before I moved it to the large tank. Up here is my immersed project where I'm growing several plants, mostly Anubias species. First, let's go over the setup. This is a 40 gallon tank filled with about 4 inches of water. And I have several clay pots with organic soil in them. There is a plexiglass lid that sits on a DIY frame, and I have plastic wrapped all the way around to keep the humidity in. In terms of lighting, I have 2 lamps from Walmart, and I use 75 watt LED bulbs. They are 5000K spectrum, and it uses about 10 watts each. The lights are plugged into a timer where it comes on for about 12 hours a day. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see the rest of the components of the setup. On the right edge of this tank, I have a 100 watt heater. There it is. And it's set to about 80 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to put this back before it burns up. And also I have a small water pump. This pumps about, I think, 80 gallons per hour. So the water is pumped through this 1/4 inch tubing and into a set of 3/8 inch pipes that go across the tank, and these pipes have small pinholes at the bottom where water can drip down, simulating rain. So now let's go over the plants. We'll start with the front row, and on the left side we have Anubius Nana Gold, and here is an Amazon sword. In the second pot, more Anubius Nana Gold. This is a Java Fern. This is an Anubius Minima. It's on a stone. Next is more Anubius, I think Nana Gold. And then we have an Anubius, I believe Heterophylla, the tall one, goes up. So in the second row, we have a small Crypt here and a bunch of other Anubius. In the second pot, we have a big Anubius hestifolia. There's an Amazon sword. Over here is an Anubius barteri, and I believe that's an Anubius Frazeri. More Anubius Frazeri. And here on the water, not on a pot, is another Anubius hestifolia. And a bunch of small Nana Golds. And this tall one to the right is an Anubius Heterophylla. And now for the back row, we can see back there on that corner is Anubius Nanji, I believe, with an Amazon sword in the back. Next is some Anubius Nana Gold with Anubius Heterophylla, this tall one here. Next is another Anubius Heterophylla. It's getting really big in the back there. And hidden on the next pot, there's a Crypt, a bronze Crypt, and some more Anubius Nana Petites. And finally, in the back right, that is an Anubius congensis, I believe. And in the back is a small Anubius Heterophylla. So that kind of sums up this project here, immersed setup, mostly Anubius. And the key here is humidity. To transition the plants slowly, you need a lot of humidity. And so I have set up the rain drip system. But maybe in a month or two, you can reduce the amount of humidity, and essentially they'll transition into a fully immersed plant. And that's it, guys. Again, thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, please leave a comment below. Until next time.